Looking at a group of very different symptoms and labeling them autism is about as helpful as looking at a plate full of different produce and labeling it red. My name is Nikki, and I have a diagnosis of autism and ADHD, and I am totally done with identifying with these labels. To be very clear at the start of this video, I firmly believe that all of your symptoms and behaviors and cognition issues that you are dealing with in your experience of everyday life are totally real and are totally valid. I am not suggesting that autism doesn't exist. I'm instead suggesting that the autism label is shallow, wide, and vague, and kind of lazy, and it's meaningless. If someone looks at you and says you have autism, that could mean 100 different things, compared to, hey, you have leukemia, that means one very specific thing. So let's dive into it by not talking about autism first, but talking about dementia. Did you know that dementia isn't actually one disease? It's just the title for a bunch of symptoms and behaviors that people experience that all have different root causes. This carries over perfectly to the psychiatric label that we have of autism. It has this huge variety of symptoms and behaviors. And if you look at autism research, it all points to totally different root causes. It also explains this really frustrating facet of autism that we currently explain as high functioning and low functioning. I'm sitting here making a YouTube video with the diagnosis of autism, but where I live, there's also a mom who's taking care of her adult son who has autism, and he has a 4-year-old's mind and will never progress past that. We both get the same label, but we are having entirely different experiences of life. Looking at a group of very different symptoms and labeling them autism is about as helpful as looking at a plate full of different produce and labeling it red. It's a really horrible set because it's way too wide. What we need are systems thinkers and probably neurobiologists who are going to come in over time and successfully separate this large set into subsets that provide helpful distinctions. The first group of sets that's created isn't the only set possible. The first people looking at all the red produce could separate it into things that grow on trees, things that have stones in them, and things that have seeds on the outside. Another person could separate them into what we like to call fruits and vegetables. Yet another person can come in, separate the set into the botanical definitions of berries and not berries, which includes stone fruits and aggregates. So when we bring this back to autism, the giant label is not very helpful, and you can't build your identity off of it because it doesn't even connect to one clear root cause. One person has a root cause that's making them experience lifelong concrete symptoms, just like how I have a cousin who's diagnosed with cardiovascular facial syndrome, cardiovelofacial syndrome, which is a genetic defect, and that's going to be there forever. Well, person number 2 has a completely different set of root causes, leading to symptoms that actually are not set in stone. And if they live their life believing and being told that you have autism, therefore all of these things are just a part of you, then they will never be able to do the subject-object thing and see themselves as separate from those behaviors and understand what's causing them and then make changes so that they can have a better quality of life. This is really important because it starts going down another rabbit hole, which is learning to understand how much your experience of reality is influenced by the people and the chronic situations and the environments that you are in. But that is for another video. If anybody is interested, please drop a comment or send me a private message. To summarize this video, you really can't identify or limit someone based on the fact that they have a label of autism or some other psychiatric diagnosis. These labels encompass a large set of conflicting symptoms and behaviors, which points to the fact that these are parts of sets that point to different root causes, some of which we do have control over. So if we sit back and identify ourselves as being autistic, we start to limit our ability to grow in very real ways. The thing that I hate about social media and modern forms of interaction is that they're incredibly one-sided. I would love to know about any aha moments you had. Please drop them in the comments. For the rest of the year, I am committing to uploading new videos every new moon and full moon because it's quirky enough to draw my attention and make me remember to do the thing. You can add my release dates to your schedule by downloading my Google Calendar below. Thanks, and be gentle with yourself.